Welcome in to Bears Weekly, powered by IGS Energy, a Chicago Bears network production. Bears Weekly is brought to you by Advocate Healthcare, Athletico Physical Therapy, CDW, Connie's Pizza, IGS Energy, and Miller Lite. Here are your hosts, Jeff Joniak, a.k.a. the Mayor of Bearsville, and his sidekick, Tom the Surfmaster Thayer.
It's Thanksgiving weekend. Bears fans have a lot to be thankful for. An 8-3 first-place team about to enter Week 13, and a date with the Eagles, 8-3 leaders in the NFC East, and a special Monday night edition of Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer, Jeff Joniak. Coming up, conversations with Jonah Jackson, Ben Johnson. Also, the longest tenured radio play-by-play man in the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Famer Merrill Reese from the Philadelphia Eagles radio booth. We'll also hear from Drew Dahlman and Grady Jarrett. Dan Barilli, Jordan Tredup, Katie Fox, our producers. Kendra Smith mixing it up in the ESPN studios tonight. And the executive producer of the Bears Radio Network is Eric Ostrowski. Tom, what'd you think of the win?
You know, I'd like to say, I sit here and I expected it all week, but I knew it was going to be a hard-fought physical battle because these two teams in the divisions they play in and the reputations they have are physical football teams. They're a run the ball first, grind it out, and let the pass help the running game. And they play a really good branded defense. Pittsburgh Steelers is a little bit different than the Chicago Bears. And then the unknown. They had a lot of guys in place, Jeff, that we frankly didn't know how they were going to react to actual regular season game day activity. And every one of them passed with flying colors.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on Ozzie Trapillo.
I like everything I saw out of him because I know it's difficult to predominantly play right tackle, have some experience at left tackle, then come into the NFL and play left tackle in that environment against that pass rushing capable football team. Ozzie Trapillo did a great job. He showed strength, aggressiveness, bendability on the running game. He was able to sustain his blocks and get movement. And then in his pass protection, he was solid. He never got fooled out of position. He never was over aggressive. He was real settled and calm in making sure that even though they like the pass rush to the outside shoulder, he wasn't susceptible to the inside shoulder. And so all those types of different traits that you have to have as an offensive tackle, I think they've done a great job of getting him mentally and physically prepared.
All right, earlier on Monday here, we had our Bears Etc. podcast interview with Bears head coach Ben Johnson. Here's a portion of that after the 31-28 win over the visiting Steelers. When you talk about path to victory, you kind of outline it for the team every week, right? To me, that speaks louder than just 3 words, path to victory. It's a mindset. Would you say that's also a part of it? You show them, they believe it, they go execute it.
Yeah, that's the hope, and that's really the thought behind it. Is you kind of want to outline where we can take advantage of certain aspects of the game, and you hope they bring it to life there on game day. So I got a great staff around me. They help me with formulating how we're going to attack the opponent each week and what we need to do and what our strengths are versus that team and the weaknesses and things of that nature. So the more of those key points that we're able to hit there on game day, the better chance we're going to have in terms of winning that ball game.
I want to focus on the rookies yesterday as part of the bigger picture here, but I did the math. Monangai, Burden, Loveland, 20 touches, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7.9 yards a touch, 9 first downs. I think 7 of those in the first half. 63 rushing yards, 95 passing yards, and then you throw in Ozzie Trapillo as a starting left tackle for the first time. I think 41 pass pro reps, no quarterback hits, no sacks, and Luke Newman comes in, plays a little guard, plays a little fullback. That's a hefty day for the rookie class. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, no, I think at this point of the season, we should probably just start shying away from calling them rookies anymore. Okay. They've been around long enough. They know how we operate. They know the offense. They know the defense. They know special teams, and so they're one of us. And they certainly have earned that right. All those guys that you just mentioned, they're a huge part of what we're doing, whether it's providing elite depth for us or playing key roles on game day there. So can't say enough good things. I think Ryan and his crew did a great job identifying some highly talented players this past year, and we were able to hit on a number of those draft picks.
You had a double reverse. Caleb goes out. You didn't hit anybody, but are you okay with him being a lead blocker?
I think he said earlier this year he's a largely condensed human, so yeah, he can withstand some of that.
so many different variations of a heavy package. We saw a lot of it, obviously, from your opposing team yesterday, Pittsburgh. I'm not sure, I haven't watched tape yet of Philly this year, but is this jumbo package here to stay in the National Football League because of all that it offers you?
Well, yeah, I think things go in cycles, and so at one point that 11 personnel was on a rise, and particularly when Sean McVay first got to L.A., I felt like every team kind of started mimicking that, and so 11 personnel shot up the ranks, and now it seems like it's going backwards a little bit. I do think tight ends they give you the most flexibility between being able to get versatility there in the run game and in the passing game, still splitting them out wide and running great routes and creating matchups. And so as defenses have started to trend more towards nickel and dime and being smaller and faster, there's a strong argument to how do we keep this team in base defense, and whether it's spread them out or even pound them a little bit. I mean, bully ball is still a thing in this league, and to Pittsburgh credit, they did that against our defense a little bit. You know, they lined up. That was a very physical game that our defense was playing throughout, and you know, we found enough stops there in the run game in the second half. But that first half, you know, we gave up a little bit of run yardage. So, you know, yeah, I think to your point, there's a lot to be said for having the ability to go bigger when the game dictates it.
Do you think that also helped not necessarily ease in Ozzie to make it not feel too big, because you gave him a lot of snaps in that throughout the course of this rookie season?
Yeah. You know, it's hard. It's a very difficult transition from college football to the NFL, and certainly at that position where, you know, it almost feels like you're drinking through a fire hose and ton of information. It doesn't matter how much you played in college. The techniques are different. You got a higher caliber athlete lining up across from you every single snap, and so you have to be perfectly sound in everything that you do. And so when you combine that along with some of the schematic things that we like to do on offense, it can be a lot. And so I did notice, you know, I don't know at what point, but from training camp up until the last few weeks, I kind of felt the game slow down for Ozzie to a degree. You know, it's less worrying about what you're doing, and I saw a big smile on his face more often than not most of these days. And for some of those rookies, that's hard to do, because it's just, this is a grind. You've been going from the end of the college year last year to getting ready for the combine, draft, blah blah blah. You know, you got all these things going on, and it's hard to catch your breath. And that's why that year 1 to year 2 is usually the biggest jump for a lot of these NFL players. And yet I kind of felt it for Ozzie at some point during the season, whether it was on show team, just things have really started to slow down for him.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. There were times going in the locker room, because I was a very affable guy.
Yeah.
After the game, you couldn't wipe that smile off his face.
I know. Yeah, it's like, you know, within the last 4 weeks, everything's kind of flipped on for him. So it's great to see.
Now, we always know the trickle down for injuries affects special teams more than anybody. Are you impressed with what they were able to put out there? Because losing guys in the game too also trickles down to how that impacts special
100%,
teams.
And that's that's Hightower and Blevins and what they've been able to do, and they go out there and you start the season thinking this is your core unit. Well, next you get to this game and you look at your core unit; they're starting
right
on both sides of the ball, and so you've got the next crew in, and yet they performed at a super high level for us. And like I said a minute ago at the press conference, this kickoff, it's starting to slowly turn into being a major weapon for us. The way Cairo's kicking the ball, the way we're covering down. That's a huge, huge deal for us here the second half of the season.
You know what's funny? The 35-yard line, okay, you're going to get the ball at the 35. But now if you get it at the 20, back in the old days, that was normal. Now it seems egregious.
Absolutely, yeah.
15 yards is a big deal.
Huge deal. Huge deal. Because, I mean, that 35-yard line, you start there with where some of these field goal kickers are making from. It's a couple first downs, and they already got 3 points.
I want to talk about Caleb Williams. Hit only once in that game. Happened to be in the end zone, and it was a forced fumble. Obviously, that can't happen. But the lowest time to throw this season, he got rid of it quickly, Tom, 2.57 seconds, according to True Media Sports.
Well, it's got to be a point of emphasis between Ben and his offensive staff because of, again, they talk about the reputation that the Steelers have as pass rushers. So if you understand that the tackle position can escort those two outside rushers to the outside, and Caleb, he's got that interior of that pocket and take advantage of his receivers downfield. I think he did a great job. Ben didn't shy away from calling passes, and Caleb was able to capitalize.
Be an interesting week because it's a short week, one extra day than normal for a Thursday game, Friday in Philadelphia. Not sure how much practice the Bears are going to have. They'll have a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of classroom time, and see who's healthy and who's not. Coming up next, we'll be joined by first-year Bear Jonah Jackson, who reflects on growing up a short distance from Lincoln Financial Field outside of Philadelphia as he gets ready for his first appearance as a starter in his hometown. That's coming up next on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer chatting about the Bears. It must be Bears Weekly.
Well, if it's Bears Weekly,
it must be the home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by IGS Energy. With Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak here on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network. There are a handful of Philadelphia-born and bred Bears that grew up in that area of the country or South Jersey. Wide receiver DJ Moore, of course, running back DeAndre Swift, and Jersey native Alameda Zacchaeus. Kevin Byard is from that area originally. There's a grittiness, a toughness about this group, and a personality that includes a member of this Bears team that grew up just 20 minutes from the stadium they'll play in on Friday in the Black Friday game. That's starting right guard, Jonah Jackson. This is kind of cool. I'm glad we're sitting down in advance of playing the Eagles because, as luck would have it, number 73 for the Chicago Bears will be playing in his 73rd start in the NFL against the Eagles.
I didn't even know that.
How about the symmetry of that?
That's
I love that stuff.
Funny.
It must mean something.
Now that you said it, yeah. It always, going back home to the place where I grew up going as a kid and being able to play there and have all my family, everybody I know and love, being able to see me play in person at home it's nice.
Because this is the first time you did play,
but I didn't
for a few snaps.
Yeah,
did you get a few snaps?
Yeah, I got a jumbo.
Yep, you got one of those in the divisional last year as a member of the LA Rams.
Yes, sir.
But this has a whole substantial meaning for you. What, 20 miles away from the link?
I don't even know. Is it 20?
I don't know. I thought I did
think
some
about
quick
20, about 20 minutes,
20 minutes?
Yeah,
all right.
It might be a little less than 20.
All right,
20
minutes.
A little steep.
All right, we'll go with the 20 minutes. You know the area better than me. What did that area teach Jonah Jackson?
Like sports, football was like, it was king. Growing up, going to Eagles tailgates, going to the games. I know what they're about over there because I was part of them. So, but it's great. They molded me into the man I am today, and the player I am on the field.
The great thing from my perspective is watching a young man get to fulfill his dream. But I mean, when we're all kids, wherever team we were rooting for, and in a tailgate situation, hey. I was 5'7.5" on a good day looking up at the stadium thinking, there's no way that I'm getting my... Did you have those moments when you're looking at that stadium or once you're in the stadium, like your mind took you there?
Yeah, definitely. But, like being a kid, you think it's like some like impossible feat, right? It's just like unattainable. But, the dreams and aspirations are there and, hard work, dedication, having good people in your corner, things can go a long way.
Who's the biggest mentor?
My dad, my mom, my brothers, my uncles, all my coaches through time. I've had a lot of good people in my corner through time that have helped me through this process.
Tell me about your brothers, because they all played football.
No, they didn't. I mean, they did play football, not at the collegiate level, at the younger level. But, yeah, you grew up with brothers. Did you have brothers growing up? Or?
Two out of the oldest.
Yeah.
Were you in the
I had two older, I had one younger. But, we got after it. So it taught me the mentality of, competition and getting after it, fighting and competing. So
yeah, I had to pay off my little brother not to tell Dad when I mistakenly got a little too physical with him.
I took it easy on my younger brother. He was 8 years younger, but the other two were only 4 years apart. So we got after it for sure.
Mom and Dad.
Yes.
It sounds like you have a very close-knit family, first and foremost. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely.
And is that something that you keep in top of mind all the time as you play this sport?
Always. Family's number one. You know, my parents. Shoot, I'm a parent now, so my kids, my wife. You know, that's what keeps you going. Not only just the love of the game, but you know, having people to do it for.
You saw your little one on the road. I think it was on the road, running around
at the Vikings.
Yeah. That warms my heart, though. I mean, I see this big old teddy bear, you know, acting like, you know, a little kid himself.
Yeah.
What does fatherhood mean to you?
You know, it's teaches you, I mean, a whole new world of things. But definitely like setting a blueprint for them, you know, showing them the way, showing them what can be done, you know, when you put your best foot forward and, you know, you focus on what's at hand and being able to be successful and, you know, turn your dreams into reality.
Well, you have the protective instincts.
And the protective instinct, you know.
Yeah, they ain't getting by you. Babies. Yeah, I'm watching some of these blocks that your whole line is, and yourself included, on that 7-yard run a couple weeks ago with DeAndre Swift, flattening your man. Is that group becoming one?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like O-lines universally are like, we all get along, you know, like we're all similar guys. We don't care too much about the flash, too much about being on the front page, you know, but,
right.
I feel like we have a really good group. We have great leaders, Joe being this, you know, the savvy vet, and Drew, you know, at the pivot, you know, he plays the most important part. And, you know, the guys on the bookends, Theo and Darnell, we're clicking pretty well right now.
What have you come to learn about yourself during this process? Because it hasn't been easy for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, and especially after last year having some bumps in the road and, you know, being on IR for a little while, you know, it's a humbling league. But, you know, I just roll with the punches and, you know, keep putting my best foot forward and, you know, great things will happen.
It has to feel good, though, to know that this group, they wanted you. They traded for you. Ben wanted you. This organization wanted you. Is that easy to repay then when you know, hey, these guys got my back?
Yeah. That was the first thing I said to my wife when I came here. I was like, I got to make sure I'm good for my dog, Ben. You know, I had to make sure I showed up for him because, you know, he invested in me to come here, and, you know, I could have been anywhere, but I ended up in the Chicago Bears, and so I had to make sure it was right.
His intensity, his everything that everybody talks about, it's real, but you know him different than anybody else here, other than maybe Antoine Randall and J.T. Barrett and some others, but you're grinning. So, I mean, he's being captured in moments, just boom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is this him?
It is him. Yeah. I feel like he might have got a little, not looser, but, you know, he's having a lot more fun, you can see. But yeah, he's the ultimate competitor. He wants to win, and that's what it comes down to. And, you know, it's contagious to all of us, and we feel it.
I love what you guys are doing, though. When there's a play at the goal line a couple weeks ago, my young guy, I had to slow down the tape like 16 times because tight ends are going this way, block. It's by the goal line. And
the Giants game?
Yeah, and everybody had a block. If you still shot at that damn thing, everybody was doing something. And you coming off the ball so quick to do your block. Drew Dahlman, Tooney was in there. Cole, boom, boom, boom. It's quite the thing to see. It's beautiful. When they say it's like a ballet troupe, you know, when it's synchronized, and it's rarely that perfect. But have there been moments when you guys even yourself watch the tape go, damn?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, things like that take time. You know, at the start, you know, it was one thing here and there, but once you're able to get it clicking and going, I mean, the sky's the limit.
All right, I know you like to eat. Have you checked out this town? And you mentioned, I think, in other interviews, you were going to take a dab and see what do you come around and see in
I've dabbled just a little bit, not as much as I like. I'm pretty far north of the city. You know, there's still good. There's good. I was surprised. There's actually Chicago. Don't kill me. I do like the pizza, but, you know, being an East Coast guy, it's different. There's levels to it. But there is some good pizza up north. I got to get down to the city and check out more what's going on. But actually, we're going as an O-line after the Eagles game. I believe that's Saturday or Sunday. You heard of Oriole?
It's like I have not been, though.
It's like
that's high end.
Chef's taste.
Yeah. You guys are going
we're doing
bougie.
it right. Yeah, we're doing it right. Yeah. Get the boys' palates maturized and developed.
I was talking to Dude Dahlman in this very seat a couple of weeks ago. I said, you guys go out to dinner? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, every
so
Thursday.
that's important to me. What have you learned about this group from those gatherings?
I mean, a lot. I mean, it's kind of like how we are in the O-line room. We're around each other all day, but you just learn more about guys' personal life. What hardships, what things they've been through, and things like that, and it brings you together because we're able to be vulnerable in front of each other, and it's hard for people in our sport, the alpha male thing, but it's been great for us.
What's the toughest thing you've ever overcome?
Football wise?
Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say football wise, probably last year. I had a back-to-back broken scapula. That's pretty tough, and then coming off a big signing and things like that, and not being able to be out there and contribute and play. It's tough, but it makes you hungrier. It gives you some more why you play the game, and
What about beyond ball?
I'd probably say probably losing my grandmother. She was like second mom. She raised us, but I guess she was great. But I lost her. I think it was junior year of college. Yeah,
set you back a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But like I said, it gives you more why to the game. She loved football. She was a big football fan. Being a older woman, she still loved it. Most grandmothers are scared of contact. She ran wanted me to run right into it. Yeah, that's why I do it.
Jackson had to leave Sunday's win over the Steelers briefly with an eye injury, but returned to finish the game. He'll be extremely important protecting Caleb Williams for that inside rush against a stout, aggressive interior of the Eagles on Friday afternoon. You can also see the entire feature on our player profile on Game Day Live Friday, coming up at noon on Fox Chicago. Up next, joined by former Falcons turned Bears, Drew Dahlman and Grady Jarrett. That's next on ESPN 1000 and the Bears Radio Network.
This is ESPN Chicago, WNVP, WTBC, HD2 Chicago, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or a virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. I just heard on our last segment Jonah Jackson, and he's really had an impact. He was the highest graded offensive lineman according to Pro Football Focus in that win over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Jonah Jackson has done a great job ever since he's been here. We are introduced to him early in the preseason, then got to know him through training camp and now throughout the regular season. He's an everyday guy. He takes accountability for everything that he does and what he wants to do. I think he's had a tremendous effect on Darnell Wright. He's been assisted by Drew Dahlman to his left, all new guys brought aboard. And I really like to hear a little bit of the story behind him and why is he such an accomplished athlete. And when you talk about some of the most important people in his life, his wife and kids, but his mom and dad and sisters and brothers. And so I think that's a neat story that everybody that gets to learn a little bit more about Jonah Jackson, they can grow a more appreciation for him.
There is an acceleration now with 8 wins for people to say, okay, are the Bears right where they need to be at each position group? Drew Dahlman was asked this question. He's been asked repeatedly about this offensive line. Is it where it needs to be? Here's Drew Dahlman earlier Monday at Halas Hall.
We're not anywhere near like a finished product, we don't view it that way. There's plenty of things we need to get better on and improve on. So I think that's much more our focus, but certainly trending in the right direction, which is good. And it's been a lot of attention and effort that's got us there, and we'll continue to kind of keep making it better.
What did you notice about Ozzy's approach last week that allowed him to kind of step in at left tackle and play so sound and maybe just over his rookie season in general?
Yeah, I think a lot of good habits, and those are formed, from whether he's playing or not. He's preparing and practicing and dedicating himself to be ready when that situation comes up. And so that came up, and he was ready to go. And I feel like a lot of testament to him for his focus over the course of the season to be ready at this point.
Caleb had a lot of clean pockets to throw from on those of the 3 touchdowns he threw over the middle. What did you see about the pass protection when you watched it back today?
I think we naturally see the things better. We certainly saw more than a few instances where I had to get us in a better call. think get us, ID differently. So definitely want to work on those. But yeah, plenty of things that, we need to keep working on and get better.
What do you think is the key to being able to celebrate the victory and then quickly turn the page?
I think it's pretty natural. We're all really happy when we win, and it's a fun locker room and fun environment, especially when you get to celebrate with guys like Ozzie and people and Luke who step up, and they're doing it kind of in their rookie year, and it's really impressive. So that's easy, and then obviously the schedule dictates that you wake up the next morning and it's time to go, and we're hitting the ground running.
Are there particular challenges in pass pro when Caleb goes into play action, particularly against some of these talented edge rushers that you guys have been facing lately?
Yeah, I think it can definitely be challenging, but it's what we want for sure. And I think the scheme and the way we run the ball helps kind of protect those play passes and gets more sell. And so I think that kind of all marries together well.
You guys have won 8 of 9. What do you think is the engine of this run?
I think just consistent habits and focus. There's never any magic pill or anything like that gets us going in the right direction. We started with a vision and with effort in April, and that's kind of compounded and has led to some success, but by no means will it guarantee future success. So I think it's about continuing with the habits that got us to where we are.
It's never a finished product, never. But good perspective on winning 8 of 9. And like a typical offensive lineman, Tom, he'll take the compliment, but he'll move on and go back to work.
Yeah, listen, every offensive lineman throughout the course of history has repeated the phrase, it's not a finished product, right? Because it never is. And it's something when you expand and contract the game plan week in and week out, when you add more to it or you take something away, when you have a different style of defense that you're playing against and different type of personnel that you're playing against. That's why it's an ever-changing evolution of the offensive line. But, Drew is really a great leader. He's super intelligent. He's got bloodline in the NFL, and I think it shows with the way that he's commanding everybody from the guys in front of him and even helping Caleb at times.
Grady Jarrett had a big play in the game, too, a batted ball. He also discussed the tush-push stop on 4th down. Grady Jarrett at the podium today as well.
Being able to stop one of football's most hated plays, obviously, right? And so we got to stop on the 4th and 1, and it was just hype, just to be a part of that and being in that interior push. And it just was, and we just had we stopped them on a kind of trickery play that was going to be a converted first down, but it was a 4th and short. So there was a big turnover for us, really, to be able to stop that high percentage play for them. And it was just brought us a lot of juice, and we was hyped up.
What were the mechanics of getting that stopped and the way you did up front?
I think just, the intensity, the get off, pad level, and just the way we like to try to play, defend it, and just high effort play and everybody doing what they needed to do.
You're going to play a team this week that invented it and is really effective at it. What do you need to do? What are the basics to try to slow this thing down?
Kind of like the one we had yesterday, just, match force with force and let the results take care of itself.
Why do you think it's so hated?
You got social media.
What kind of adjustments do you have to make with a short week?
You got to get your body back fast as you can. Got to get your body back. And that come with, putting in work and more than physically, mentally too, preparing for a new opponent, and all the things that they bring. So it's the same challenge that the other team got to face as well. So it's just one of the times, one of the parts of the year that, everybody got to deal with the same thing, and it's our turn. And so we got to be ready Friday.
So you guys aren't fit.
Most notable about this 4 or 5 game stretch for Montez?
I think just being in the right place, man, playing hard, and I think another thing that helps him when he make them nice big plays, he able to make them outside the pocket because it's just crazy athleticism, man. So fast to be that big, and the quarterbacks thinking they can get away from him, he just go hawk him down, and super impressive to see. Also, he playing good in the run game too.
Grady, I know you guys aren't finished yet, but you joked yesterday that it's been a while since you've won 8. At this stage of your career, what's your level of appreciation for when the wave gets going? You've won 8 and 9, and there's special happening.
Anytime I get the opportunity to play football, I always got appreciation for it. But winning is hard in this league, man. Winning is hard, and I think being here, I think knowing what we came here to do, and the standard that we wanted to set, and to see the results in the season,
and how our bodies and our mindsets are helping us be able to achieve and win these hard games is really rewarding, and it really makes you want to just double down more on the work ethic, the grind, the sacrifice, because it come with a cost. Winning come with a cost, and we got to pay the price every day. So that's one of the most rewarding things I could say that I feel at this point in my career being here.
What do you think's been the engine that's gotten this group going the way it has?
I just think it's our belief, man. More than our belief, the work that we put in, the standard that's been set, and really living up to it, you know what I'm saying? And sacrifice from, guys, whether you're called to do more or have a different role here and there, but just dominating your role, whatever it may be, that's for the betterment of the team, And I think it's really been showing through, and we just have so many wins that's been complimentary from offense, defense, special teams, and guys stepping up in big days and big plays. We had games where we had to stop them from scoring more points, or we had games where the offense needed to go outscore them, games where special teams got to go win us the game. I mean, it's been amazing to be a part of, and we just want to continue to stack on that.
Grady, you faced Barkley last year, right?
Yes.
What does he do between the tackles?
I think he does a really good job finding the holes. I mean, he big, strong back. He could do everything with the ball in his hand. So he definitely presents a challenge, man. You got to swarm to the ball, and know it's going to take more than one guy to bring him down. But he good in between the tackles, good on the edges, and that's why he's held in high regard like he is. So we definitely got to be ready. We got our work cut out for us.
I like hearing that he's feeling better. He's healthier. He didn't say it's 100. He's probably not going to be 100 right this season at this point. But he wanted to show out with number 50 there, too, Mike Singletary on the sidelines, so that was good to see. But how do you think he feels about the tush-push? They're going to have to face it again.
Yeah, you're going to have to face it again, and it's going to be a team that's a little bit more accomplished at it. They keep the quarterback under center, where the Pittsburgh Steelers, the first time they used a fullback that doesn't take as many under center quarterback exchanges. But the key phrase that kind of caught my mind with Grady was standard and belief, because there is a standard that's set in that building, and they're developing a belief. And I think that's really important for the whole team to understand. You have the experience of Grady Jarrett. He has a tremendous amount of experience on the respect around the NFL. But I think his message resonates with some of the young guys that need to hear it from a veteran.
All right, coming up next, the Hall of Fame voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese, on ESPN Chicago and the Bears Radio Network.
Bears.
It is gone!
Bears Weekly.
Time expires!
A deep dive into all things Bears.
And the Bears win!
With Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer, this is the home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by IGS Energy. With Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak, as we break down our game coming up on Friday, the Black Friday game. It is the Bears and Eagles, and no better man to talk to than the Hall of Fame voice of the Eagles since 1977, the 2024 recipient of the Pete Rozelle Radio TV Award. I was lucky enough to be in the building when he was honored in Canton, Ohio, at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Merrill Reese, the longtime voice of the Eagles, joining Tom and I. Merrill, how you feeling? I know it was a early morning arrival after the Cowboy game. We've been there, we've done that, but you've done it longer, so you know the drill. You're always busy.
Well, thank you, Jeff and Tom. And I have to tell you, I resent right away using the word breakdown.
Oh.
Because I was part of a breakdown.
Yeah. What happened? What happened?
In Dallas. That's what I'm saying. What happened? You know what? It was 21-0. Eagles got off to a great start. But when the Cowboys scored before the end of the first half, I had this feeling that it wasn't quite over, and this thing had a few more impactful chapters ahead. And after the Eagles scored at the beginning of the second quarter to go up 21-0, they never scored again. They just, in every aspect of the game, and I'll tell you what did it maybe as much or more than anything else. How about when your team is penalized 14 times? And this is not me blaming the officials, because with the exception of maybe one call or two calls, which some of them went against the Cowboys, I thought the officiating was good. I thought the officiating was fair. I think the Eagles were sloppy.
With all that said, is this a football team that has a resiliency of not only the past controversies that it's lived through, the controversies that it's lived through throughout this season, that still has the opportunity to rebound and be successful at the conclusion of this year and into the playoffs?
Yes. The answer is yes. They are resilient. Yes, they are a good team. I think that if you guys, and I know you do, you watch tape, and I know that I'm not saying anything that is giving the Bears inside information. The offensive line has been a struggle. They've been struggling with injuries. Cam Jurgens, the center, is coming off a back operation in the offseason. Lane Johnson is out for at least 4 weeks with a Liz Frank injury. Landon Dickerson, the right guard, Landon Dickerson has been having problems with knee and back injuries. It's been mix and match, and they have you watch Saquon Barkley, you say, what's wrong with Saquon? I think there's a statistic, Tom, that shows that last year the first contact with Saquon came 2.5 yards downfield, and this year the first contact is at the line of scrimmage. That's a big difference. So what I'm saying is there's no run to daylight this year.
We're with Merrill Reese, the longtime voice of the Philadelphia Eagles. His partner is former Eagles receiver Mike Quick. They do an unbelievable job. He is a legend in Philadelphia and a legend in the National Football League. Our entire group of play-by-play guys are on a text chain, and they always give a tip of the cap to one Merrill Reese. Merrill, let's talk about your defense. Obviously, there's been a lot of investment in the line of scrimmage, both in draft capital and through deals or whatever the case may be. This general manager, Howie Roseman, thinks highly of the line of scrimmage, and we do too here with Tom and I. So what have they done? How are they doing, and how is it helping out this team?
Well, they made a few moves at the trade deadline. One was picking up Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins as an edge rusher, and he's very, very good, although I didn't see much of him, frankly, yesterday. But he's made an impact on this team. And you're right. Howie does believe in building from the lines up. And it's worked. It's worked. This is a good football team, despite what happened yesterday. So they're 8-3. I mean, well, so are the Bears. So I just did my commentary. I do 5 of these things for the Odyssey stations during the week. And my commentary for tomorrow is, what yesterday does, however, is elevate Friday's battle between the Eagles and the Bears. The Eagles need to move on, play their best football, and go 9-3. Yesterday's loss was not critical, unless they allow it to be. Yesterday's loss was a tremendous downer, a big disappointment, a disaster, tough to digest, but it doesn't wreck their season. They're 8-3. They're right in the hunt. Now, let them lose to the Bears after losing to the Cowboys, and then things start to shake a little bit. The foundation is trembling. But right now at 8-3, all it does is make this Bears game even bigger. And it's big for the Bears.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, already, once you got to 8, that crooked number like that 8 is something of a rite of passage, frankly, for a team at this point, before Thanksgiving even gets here. And then you throw on this is a worldwide broadcast. For the first time, Ben Johnson meets Vic Fangio, who we loved here in Chicago. So that angle will get a lot of attention, Merrill, as well.
Vic Fangio is great. I've been around a few great defensive coordinators in my career, and I go back to Bud Carson. I believe coordinators should be in the Hall of Fame, maybe a separate category, but Bud Carson belongs in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was the architect of that steel curtain defense, and he did a lot of big things, Bud Carson. Great defensive coordinator, not a great head coach. But he belongs in the Hall of Fame. And I believe that without any question in my mind, that Jim Johnson, who was the defensive coordinator under Andy for all those years until he passed away, belongs in the Hall of Fame. And I believe that someday Vic Fangio belongs in the Hall of Fame. He's right up there with the best defensive coordinators ever.
You know, Merrill, when I went to Notre Dame, Jim Johnson was one of our defensive assistants, and he was a racquetball partner of mine all through college. Think he's one of the most fantastic coaches I've ever been around. But I don't want to leave this without talking about the receiver position, which I want to include the tight end. Because when you see what Saquon Barkley is kind of going through this year, is this team transitioning, trying to, I don't know how to put it. Are they still a running team that has great receivers, or are they great receivers that has a good running game?
Well, they're great receivers that doesn't have a great running game this year. Really. Saquon hasn't gotten slow, but he hits a brick wall so often. I mean, as I said, the holes aren't there, and they are collapsing on Saquon Barkley. Every now and then he can get outside, and he's fast. But generally speaking, they are making this more of a passing team than a running game by necessity. But they've got great receivers with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But so does Dallas. I mean, I think those two, C.D. Lamb and George Pickens, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, it's pretty equal. Both teams have two great wide receivers.
What kind of crowd are we looking at in Philly for a Black Friday game?
It's a ticket that is very tough to get and very expensive to get right now. It's the biggest game that's been in Philadelphia for a long time, biggest regular season game for a long time. And I know you guys will do a great job describing it back to your radio network, because you guys constitute a wonderful booth. So congratulations to you and all of your accomplishments, and to Tom. And we look forward to seeing you, Mike and I, on the other side of the glass. And I think it's going to be a fun broadcast, and I think it's going to be a very exciting atmosphere.
Can I ask your memories of the Fog Bowl? I was a player. Just your instant memories of the Fog Bowl.
You know what? I'll give you my memories of the Fog Bowl. I was working with Stan Walters, the former Eagles left tackle.
Right.
And we were doing the game, and all of a sudden a puff of, and it was unseasonably warm. Yep. I got there and I took off my long underwear in the men's room because I was going to be sweltering. And I'm doing the game, and all of a sudden there's a puff of smoke or something. And Stan said it looked like somebody set off a smoke bomb. And within moments, the fog had rolled in, and we could see nothing, absolutely nothing. And I didn't know what to do, so I at least tried to be entertaining. So I said at one point, I think Randall Cunningham is having trouble. He just came out of the huddle led by a German Shepherd. And then I was trying to bring out memories of the galloping ghost, thinking that Red Grange would be very, very comfortable. But by the second half, they put a PA announcer down on the field with a wireless mic, and he would call out the essentials, 2nd and 2, pass to quick, or whatever. And we made it. And then by the end, Cindy and I were having a New Year's Eve party, and that was New Year's Eve day. And I was convinced I wouldn't be home. And I went down to the locker room, first of all, and Buddy Ryan said, he was asked, somebody said, Buddy, should that game have been postponed until the fog cleared? And Buddy said, no, they did the right thing. Nobody cancels wars, and nobody cancels or postpones football games. And then the strange thing was, I walked out of the bowels of the stadium into the parking lot, and the sun was shining brightly, and it was as clear as it could ever be, and we flew home. So those are a few memories. But what I saw I always tell people, if you want to know what I saw, go up against your wall and look at white wallpaper, and that is what I saw. Nothing that are big.
Well, it'll be good to see you, Merrill, as always, and great to talk to you. Your energy is infectious. That's all I got to say. Philadelphia fans, lucky to have you.
Well, they're lucky in Chicago to have you guys. Right. So thank you. I look forward to getting together on Friday after. We've never done a Friday afternoon game.
Right. Yeah. I guess the Bears had them in the early 1930s. All right, Merrill, we'll talk to you. Thank you so much. That's Merrill Reese, the voice of the Philadelphia Eagles here on ESPN Chicago and the Bears Radio Network.
Bears Weekly is back, and so are Tom Thayer and Jeff Joniak on ESPN Chicago.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. Had a good time with Merrill Reese, one of the most impressive men in our business. I think he's turning 84 years old, so he's had quite the career. All right, it is time for Tom's thoughts. We have no time for nothing else, Tom, but we got thoughts. I start out with this game is for the big boys.
Well, Jeff, when you go back and you look at the roster of the Bears and you look at the roster of the Philadelphia Eagles, you just look at them defensive specifically. They got a 314, they got a 336, they have a couple other 300-pounders. That's the big boys. But then you go to the offensive line, 332, 326, 303, 365, 332, and 321. So that's a big group of offensive linemen right there. So if you're going to talk about the big boys and you talk about the appreciation and the importance that Ben said earlier for the offense and defensive line, Merrill Reese said the same thing. This is a big boy contest. Those other fancy guys, they're going to be running, they're going to be smooth in their pads, but this is about a 300-pound across-the-line game for both teams.
When you knew it was a game about the big boys, were you psyched?
Of course, because there's guys that have this dynamic size about them, but there's also things that you can take advantage of, different angles of attack. If you create a stalemate and the running back squeaks through, then he's going to be off to the races. So it's a big battle. It's a big battle because it's Black Friday in Philadelphia, but it's a big battle because the offense and defensive lines are too important. And I heard someone say on TV today, the Chicago Bears have the best offensive line in the NFC North.
Good to hear. Day after Thanksgiving, but you say eat a lot of stuffing. What are you talking about?
You know how running backs, or you see that sign from feed me, keep feeding me?
Yeah.
So to me, eating a lot of stuff, that's the running game.
Okay.
The running game has to be instrumental in the performance of the Chicago Bears. And it's not going to be easy because they got some big guys up front, but I do think the way that this running game complements the passing game, you don't ever shy away or remove yourself from it. It's something you got to do, and it's going to be about how you stuff that run game into that line of scrimmage.
Well, DeAndre Swift's from Philadelphia, and Kyle Monunga is from New Jersey. So
exactly.
They'll have family and friends watching. They'll be fired up to take. And of course, DeAndre played for the Eagles for 1 year, went to the Pro Bowl. And your last one, Lincoln Financial Field, this stadium has jail cells. Yes, it does.
Yeah, so you go to the old Philadelphia Stadium before they built a new one. So the old stadium had one jail cell. And as buses, you pulled in there and you walked to the locker room. When you got there in the morning, the jail cell was empty. When you left after the game, it was full. Now this new stadium, they got 3 jail cells. And so as a young guy going there for the first time and never having experience in Philly, your bus pulls in the morning, and the first thing you see is 3 jail cells. And they're empty. When you leave at the end of the day, they're going to be full. So just realize what type of environment that you're pulling into when you go to that stadium.
Well done, Tom. Well done. I'll keep my eye on those jail cells as well. I've never seen them, actually, going into that stadium or the previous one. I don't remember, unless I just forgot. They say Soldier Field had jail cells.
Well, Jeff, you're very focused. You have blinders on at all time.
Yeah. Probably not. I lack a little awareness. The executive producer of the Bears Radio Network is Eric Ostrowski. Thanks to Kendra Smith in the ESPN studios and all of our producers, Dan Brody, Jordan Trudup, Katie Fox. Hey, make sure everybody has a great Thanksgiving. We'll celebrate on Friday in Philadelphia with all of you. We'll hope you'll listen to our 2 o'clock kickoff from Philadelphia. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. This has been Bears Weekly on the radio home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago. ESPN's Amber and Ian are next. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Chicago Bears Network presentation of Bears Weekly, hosted by the mayor of Bearsville, Jeff Joniak, and Surfmaster Tom Thayer. Podcasts are available on the Chicago Bears official app, brought to you by Verizon and Apple Podcasts. Bears Weekly has been brought to you by Miller Lite.